It is my pleasure today. I am looking forward to my refresher of the four agreements, and I welcome Reverend Kandace Krapu here to share with us today.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Cinco de Mayo. Tamale Day for me. I love it. So, a little more than 20 years ago, Don Miguel Ruiz published a book called The Four Agreements. And that's what I'm going to be talking about this month. And so what he says in his book is that thousands of years ago, the Toltec wisdom was thriving in southern Mexico. And those people, the Toltec people, were known as the men and women of knowledge. And so they were a society of artists and scientists who explored and conserved the spiritual knowledge and practices of those who were ancient to them. And this was in an ancient city known as a city of the pyramids, right outside of Mexico City, known as the place where man becomes God, which is such an interesting idea. So, due to the fact that there were European conquests going on, and we all know within any group there's always some little faction that's going to misuse the power. And so the knowledge was shielded from people who might not use it wisely. But it's always, always, always existed, and it's always been handed down. Now, it's not a religion, but he says that this is really a way of life. So there are a lot of parallels within this with the science of mind philosophy, because Ernest Holmes said that science of mind is a faith, a philosophy, and a way of life. And so everything in existence, the Toltec people believed, is a manifestation of one living being that we call God. Well, that really sounds like us, doesn't it? I mean, like everything. Ernest Holmes says in the statement of what we believe, which is on the back of your programs, he says that what we believe, that the entire manifest universe is the body of God. So everything we see is actually God incarnate. Everything is God. And so the real us, the unseen us, is pure love, pure light, and that everybody, and this is where it starts to get really interesting, everybody who comes into our life is a mirror. Ew. I know we all liked it right up until that point, didn't we, But he uses an analogy, and I've heard this analogy before, of smoking mirrors. And he says we're all smoky mirrors. We see ourselves actually in everybody else, but we don't recognize it because of the smoke between us, between you over there and me up here. And that smoke, he says, is a dream. So in Buddhism, they would say that everything that we see in the manifest world is Maya. It's illusion. It's not the ultimate or the absolute truth. And so the mirror then is you. It's your dream. You're the dreamer. So we make a lot of agreements in life. And the most important ones are the ones that we make with ourselves. Who you are, what you feel, what you believe, how you believe. Those are the agreements that really have everything to do with how our life proceeds. In fact, how our life actually turns out. So our agreements rule our life. Now, if we don't like the dream of our life, we need to change some of those agreements. And so we'll discover over the next few weeks that there are these four really, really important agreements to help us break the old agreements that come from fear, that come from our past. that deplete our energy, that do not serve us, that do not empower us. In fact, they actually disempower us. And so we're going to need to have, you're going to need to have, I'm going to need to have, and I know we do because we're here, but we're going to need to have a strong will to adopt these 4 agreements. And so the promise is that if we begin to live our life with these 4 agreements, and they're not that difficult, at least they sound not that difficult. They sound like, oh, that's going to be easy. That's going to be easy peasy breezy. Yeah, sure, no problem. Sign me up, baby. And the promise is that if we can live our life with these 4 agreements, then the transformation that will happen in each of our lives will be absolutely amazing. And so the number 1, and this could have come directly from Ernest Holmes, the number 1 is to be impeccable with your word. To be absolutely impeccable with your word. And you're probably sitting out there thinking what I'm thinking. Well, I'm pretty good at that, you know. Well, maybe I'm so-so. I'm more so than not. I'm there. I'm pretty good with that. We'll see. Now, he says that this is the most important one. That this is the most important agreement, to be impeccable with your word. And it's also the most difficult to honor. It's really hard, isn't it? I mean, it would just be so easy if you were just in the world all by yourself, wouldn't it? You know? There was nobody that was ever going to get your attention. If there wasn't just anyone who was out there working your last nerve. If there was nobody else on Airport Boulevard on a Saturday afternoon. It would be so easy. But then if we think about it, that's not really very accurate either, is it? Because even by yourself, even by myself, we have agreements that do not honor, serve, or empower us. So all right, it sounds simple. But your word is the power you have to create. In the Bible, it says, in the beginning was the Word. So your word is the gift that comes directly from God. God, Spirit, divine intelligence has given you the power of your word to make something of the substance of your life. And we all understand that we can make a mess and we can make a mansion, but it's all up to us. It's up to us. So your word is how you begin to express, and how I begin to express our creative power. Because our word is connected to everything that manifests, everything in our life. And do not kid yourself that it is not. Our word is connected to every single thing that manifests in our life experience. Because your word, my word, is like a force. It has an energy all of its own. And it's the power we have to express, to communicate, to think, to create the events of our life. So your word is the most powerful tool that you have as a human being. When people ask me, especially on a plane, what's the science of mind? It's like, oh God, what's the science of mind? In 10 easy words. Well, we believe that God is everywhere equally present, in and through all people and all things. We believe that the most powerful thing that you have to create, to heal, to evolve, to grow your life is your word, right there, your word. And that love is a better way to be in the world because we've tried not love. That hasn't worked very well, has it? We've seen the results of not love. So that's not good. And then people will continually try and ask me these things, and they'll want to get into an argument, and I say, oh, not now. Ask me again when we're at 30,000 feet. Right now we have to pray that you shut up. But the most important thing is that your word is the most powerful tool that you've been endowed with by the infinite spirit, by the architect of the universe. It's like it said, what am I going to give them to get creative with? What am I going to give them to evolve with? Their word. Their word. But it's a double-edged sword because it can either create or destroy. Your word, think about this, your word is so powerful that it can create beauty, create love, it can create heaven on earth, it can set others free. But the other side of that sword is that it can destroy. It can create hell for you and for other people. It can enslave you and limit other people. I mean, think about it. Think about it, because we've all done this. And I'm not just saying this to make anybody feel bad, but we've all, at one time or another, said something at some time to someone that didn't really lift them up. It actually kind of squashed them down a little bit. We've all done it. Even if you've just said to your kids, can you shut up? I'm on the phone trying to get this information. They don't hear anything except shut up. Not that you're on the phone, not that you're talking to the doctor trying to get some information and it is really important or something like that. They hear shut up. And that translates into icky, ugly, bad. And I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying that our word is a double-edged sword. It can build people up, and it can build us up, and it can tear people down, and it can tear us down. So your word, it's like a seed planted, and it grows. And so what I get to ask us all this morning, and what I've been thinking about for myself, what is my mind fertile ground for today, right here, right now? So what is our mind fertile ground for? See, because your word, my word, is a powerful suggestion to others. You can plant fear and doubt, or you can plant light and love and love. Think about it. Have you ever been to a doctor? And the doctor looks at you and he says, or she says, if you do this, and I know you can, you're going to have fantastic results. And then you absolutely believe that. And you take that in. And you come back, let's say maybe a couple months later, and he says, you're doing fantastic. I just knew this was going to work for you. You're like my poster child for following instructions. And you just kind of grow inside. Because that doctor, and he's not even like the closest person to you in your life, but that doctor with their words uses that sharp edge of the sword that builds you up and makes you more. It's like what's happening is that doctor's faith is transferred to you, and because that doctor believes in you, you believe in you a little bit more. And we all have people in our life who do that. And we all get to do that for other people. So in thinking about this, I think, wow, if my word is the most powerful thing that I have, if it's the most powerful tool that I have as a human being, it's like the old saying, life and death are in the power of the tongue. Wow, that's a double-edged sword. And I have to watch it. Because the basic law of the universe is cause and effect. And that what I put out, and that includes what I speak out, what I say out about myself or another, the universe grabs that and multiplies that and returns it to moi. That's exactly how it goes. And that's exactly what the teaching of the science of mind is teaching us. So I think that probably there's not a person here who at some point when they were young, who had somebody say something to us. Could have been another kid down the street or in the playground at recess that said something like, "You're stupid," or something like that. And really, the problem isn't that they said it. The problem is that sometimes we're just in a place that we're fertile ground to take that in and believe it. And we all know what happens when once you take that in and start believing in it, you'll start to gather evidence, you'll get evidence for it. And then another little piece of evidence. And then all of a sudden you've got this big old bushel of evidence that, well, they said I was stupid, I guess I must be stupid. And that's the way it's going to be for you until you change that. So, now the word impeccability means without sin. Well, we don't believe in sin in the science of mind. People don't sin. They make mistakes. They miss the mark. So sin is something that goes against yourself. I think perhaps that's my favorite definition. That when we do something or say something that goes against us, that is sin. That's the mistake. So it could be something that you feel, something that you believe, or something that you say. Like when you blame or judge you. "Oh my God, I can't believe I did that. I am so stupid." Let's just take a look at that in terms of what we teach. What possible good is going to come out of something like that? None. None. I'm here to tell you that, right? None. Nobody gets better by that. And we've all tried it, That's not the environment for growth and evolution and healing and expansion and greater love. It just isn't. It doesn't happen that way. That's just a myth. So impeccable is that you and I take responsibility for our actions without blame and without judgment. Because what we take responsibility for, in those areas we can heal, we can grow, we can evolve, and we can thrive. And we can be more than we've ever been before. Whenever we take responsibility without blame and judgment. So Don Miguel says that self-rejection is the biggest sin, the biggest mistake. It's like, wow, but where we're impeccable in our speech, what that does is that actually leads to greater life. Impeccability is not using your words against you. So that means for each of us, no more, "I'm so blah, 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 blah," whatever it is for you. Bad, stupid, not enough, unlovable. No more of that. Impeccable is the right use of your energy. Because remember, there's cause and effect happening all the time. And so you want to use your energy in the direction of truth and love for yourself. And then you'll have plenty of that for others as well. And if you say, "Well, I'm just not so good at doing that for myself," then do it for other people. And you'll get some of the grace. You'll get some of the spill off. It'll land on you because it's all two sides of the same coin. The power of the word misused is hell. Now, we don't believe in hell in the science of mind, in religious science. Hell is a state of consciousness. But we've all been there, right? We've all been there. I've been there. So I can't say that I don't believe in some place that I have been frequently. And actually I've had a small rental there. Maybe a house. So hell is a state of consciousness. That's what Ernest Holmes teaches us. And where we're cursing ourselves and life and other people and blaming and feeling guilty, we're angry or we're jealous or we're filled with envy and hatred, that's misusing the word. And when we misuse the word, not only does it pull us down, it pulls other people down as well. And it's what we do, it seems to me, to keep other people in a state of fear or doubt and sort of off balance all the time. And so when we hear somebody else's opinion, particularly about us, and believe it, what we're doing is we've made an agreement and it becomes part of our belief system. So we have to make new agreements based on spiritual truth. You know, God doesn't make any junk. You are not a mistake. I don't care what anyone has ever told you, if somebody has told you that. They're wrong if they've told you that. They're wrong. God does not make any mistakes. And if you are one of those people sitting out there and believing those things about yourself, get your butt in classes. John's teaching a class. We'll be having other classes throughout the year, but start getting some classes to undo those messages and start making a new agreement. Now, truth is the most important part of being impeccable with your word. That you want to speak words of truth about yourself and words of truth about other people, because only the truth will set you free from false agreements. So now about other people, I just got to tell you, the way that this outpictures is that gossip is just poison. It's like a virus in your computer, and if you've ever had one, you know you don't want to get another one. A virus has a harmful intent. So the misuse of your word puts us deeper and deeper into hell. Now here's what I think is so interesting about that. We do this. We make a little hell for ourselves, and then we wonder why our life doesn't work. You know? I don't understand. I'm so nice, you know. I'm basically nice. I'm not as bad as them, you know. So why is this happening to me? The misuse of your word. See, somebody's opinion, just like your opinion, is a point of view. It's not necessarily truth. And as Ruiz tells us, when we're impeccable with our word, what that does is it cleanses us of any kind of emotional poison. And if we're impeccable with our word, that makes us immune to other people's negative ideas and other people's negative words. So you can measure the impeccability of your word right now by the level of self-love that you have. Because the level of self-love that you have right now is proportionate to the level and quality, the integrity of your word. To make it really simple, when you're impeccable with your word, you're going to feel happy. You're going to feel good. You're going to feel at peace. And so this means for us as students of the science of mind, what it means is I'm going to go around and I'm going to go to speak a life-affirming words about myself and about other people. And if it doesn't make me more, then I'm not going to say it. If it doesn't make them more or somebody else more, I'm not going to say it. And certainly if it doesn't make me more, I'm just not going to say it. There's an old, it's a It's a saying that's attributed as a Chinese proverb. I don't believe it is a Chinese proverb, but I'm going to go ahead and use it. May you be cursed to live in an interesting time. And I think we have to talk about this because I have a lot of people bombarding me with a lot of comments and questions about the interesting time we are living in our nation. And I want to come from absolute spiritual truth here. So I want everybody to just go up a notch with me. Our good comes from God, the Spirit of the living God, the presence of the infinite within you, within me, is the source of all good in our life. And we need to be really, really clear about that. That means that our good does not come from government situations, or government politicians. And I'm trying to be very, very careful here because I just want spiritual principle. I don't want to get cornered and they say, you talked about politics in church. But there's a great law of life. And the great law of life is whatever we're against, we are creating. And so what we see so often is the conditions that people are trying to solve have been created by error belief. The conditions that people are saying are intolerable, I've got to fix this, we have to do this, we have to do that. These conditions were created by error belief. And so if I bring it all back to the science of mind, until these beliefs are dispelled, the conditions will persist. Remember, we receive what we believe. So if you've got something going on, something bad is going to happen, if this one or that one or this situation, no good will come of that. No good. And it's time to be impeccable with your word. We receive what we believe. And the time is to put our big boy and big girl underwear on and start knowing the truth that God is our source. And so it is. So I think it's time for a treatment here. And so I invite us all to just turn our attention inward for just a moment. And we continue in consciousness. We just remember that we are one with the one. That the architect of the universe is right here where we are. And that we're all connected on the unseen side of life. And so we see in our mind all of those people who we love and care about. We wrap our spiritual arms around them, and we know that all is well with their soul. We let our prayer be a blessing in the world. So those situations that make us fearful, we say that God is right there, even in the midst of all of that. And a perfect healing is unfolding. And so it is so because I declare it to be so. I use the power of my word. I declare it. We bless our church. We bless all churches. We bless synagogues and temples and mosques, ashrams, all paths to God. And so we just allow the boundaries of our heart to be expanded a little bit more so that a little bit more is included. And I know as we move forward from here today that we are impeccable with our word. Because we know, we accept that it doesn't serve us or anyone else to be anything but that. So with an open, gracious, full heart, I give thanks that this is the truth, this is so, and together we say, and so it is.